Here we go. Right, hi guys, welcome to TFSL TV. There is no Mick or Johnny today. Mick's, I don't know what he's doing, and Johnny's in bed ill. So get well soon, Johnny. And I have Ian Imber, boss of West Brom, and I have Simon Tombs, boss of Villa. Evening, gents, or afternoon, gents, wherever you are.
Afternoon all.
Yeah. Ian, you're based in Spain.
I am, yeah.
And Simon, you're based in Gillingham.
Yep, I am. Gillingham in Kent.
Yeah, very good. All right, so we got a connection of China, Spain, England, and at any point any of us could cut out. So we're just going to take our chances. I thought because Mick and Johnny aren't here to help me this week, and because I've been working flat out, I've not really prepared this. This is off the cuff. So we're going to go freestyle. We're gonna wing it. So first of all, I'll just ask you how your seasons are going. Start with you, Ian. How's your season going?
Well, first of all, I manage under the name of Harry Potch, so some people might not make the connection there. I've already had a few problems with that. In pre-season, I predicted we'd be middle of the table. When I looked at the squad, when I've got West Brom, I thought, oh, that's good, going to be able to go for promotion this first season. And when I looked at the squad, I realised why Pulis left Pardew such a terrible squad, and Pardew got the sack because he had no chance. We had a number of players reaching their late 20s, beginning of 30s. Maximum rating there was Rondon on 89, but there was nobody between sort of the ages of about 19 and 22, 23. We were bereft of those sort of players. So it wasn't a good squad I inherited. So I predicted mid-table. It's been an up and down season. We've had a couple of good runs, but we've drawn more games than anybody else other than Gordon's Sheffield Wednesday. We've both drawn 11.
Yeah. Okay. And Simon, how's your season going so far? You're boss of Villa.
Yeah, I would say, having taken on Aston Villa, we decided to go a little bit on the side. I think the thing that, because I'm quite new to the system, is the fact that I look at players for their youth and see where we can win from that point of view. And it's not, I think it really does count on who's got the most percentage and who's got the highest ratings to see. Because I like to play, you look at actual football life and you look at some of the youngsters that are coming through and you pick them because you think they're good, but if they've only got a rating of 74 75, they might play well in real life, but obviously in the system they don't. There's no way they can do that. So I'm really underachieving at Villa. I've changed the tactics. I've now gone to a bit more experience. I think over the last few weeks I've brought in several of the older players with higher ratings. And that's where you've seen a change in performance, you know. But like Ian, I seem to be drawing more games than I'm actually winning.
When the draw was made, Simon, Aston Villa was a little bit of an emotional pull for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd had a guy that I used to have as a chef. I'm in catering, and he used to invite me up there all the time. I used to go up and see the Chelsea game because I'm a Chelsea fan. And unfortunately, about a year before, he'd actually passed away quite suddenly. So I wasn't able to go up. So when the draw came out, it was unbelievable that I was given the opportunity to be Villa boss. But I have a lot of information about Aston Villa because I used to go out there about 4 or 5 times a year to sit at the one of the stands and be with him and sort of watch games. So it was quite a touching sort of tribute to him that I've been given the chance.
Yeah, and so that in mind, and also Villa's a big club, I don't see you ever wanting to leave Villa, really?
No, I've got no intentions to leave there. I think, you know, I've decided that I'm going to try to buy some more experienced players, look at it tactically, and slowly but surely, you know, climb the league. You know, I've accepted that this season's probably going to be a forget-about season, get to know the squad, get to know how to sort of like look and monitor how other teams are playing. I've never done that before in this system. I've just basically picked the team and played it. Whereas now I'm looking at other teams, other formations, tactical stances and so forth.
Okay, and Ian, when the draw was made, I understand you were disappointed to get West Brom.
Yeah, I wanted one of the minnows. I wanted one of the Irish or one of the small Scottish clubs.
You can have Crusaders.
No, I'm building something now at West Brom. I haven't got the heart to give them up.
Yeah, you've got into it now.
I like starting with the youngsters and building a squad from the base. You know, that's why I like going into new game worlds.
Yeah. So hypothetically, had you, say, for example, been given Crusaders, you would have been up for that.
I'd been over the moon.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what I was after. I think I was after something like a Hibs or a Hearts or an Aberdeen.
Yeah.
I fancied a Scottish.
Well, there's only one club I'd leave West Brom for, and that's Spurs. Because I'm in 14 game worlds and I don't manage them in any.
No, I'm the same with both Spurs boys, and I'll be honest with you, I don't like managing Tottenham. I've only ever made a pig's ear of it, and I think it's quite hard managing your own club. I think.
Well, every time I've been offered them in the games world, they've already been Kane and Ali and Ericsson have already gone.
Yeah,
so that there's nothing to build on.
Yeah. Okay then, gents. Look, I won't go on about it too much.
There is one thing I find really strange about this game world that I don't find in any of the others. In all the others, I set up a system that's worked quite successfully for me. It's 4-3-2-1, I think, and I've done really well with a lot of small clubs. At the moment, I'm running it on one game world with Leyton Orient, and they haven't got the strongest side, yet they're top of the league, and with 2 games left, they're going to win it. I found in this league, I've used it, and all I kept getting with it was draws. I got more possession than my opponents. I had more shots on goal, but I ended up with draws. And I wonder if that's because the managers in this game world are far more active and far more used to changing and setting up their formations than in some of the other game worlds.
Well, 100%. The more active the managers, the harder the game world is. And
but I find in a lot of the game worlds, the managers don't change their formations. So if you've got a formation that's working, you tend to find that it wins most of the time.
There's variables. If you've got a strong team in a game world and you're stronger than everyone else, then you can get away with picking the same team.
Yeah.
If you're in a competitive game world and your team is in the middle, I think you need to adapt per the opposition. Some managers don't, some managers do. But in answer to you, just answering your query, I just think TFSL is a very competitive, strong game world. Oh, what was that?
Me playing around. Hold on.
He's got the problem I had before with my laptop.
Yeah, we had a bit of it. Right, so I wanted to just state this then. We've got, funnily enough, you're sort of in the Midlands, you two. Now, Ian, you're 13th. Simon, you're 14th. You're neck and neck on 29 points each. Although, Ian, you've got a plus 14 goal difference somehow.
Well, I was looking around at tactics and I saw Johnny at Man City was using 4-2-4.
Yeah.
And I got so fed up with drawing all these games that for 3 games I played 4-2-4 and we got some amazing results. But it seems like everybody that I'm now playing has cottoned on, and so now I'm losing. I got beat 4-1 last week in the week playing 4-2-4. You know, I got beat by Ipswich playing 4-2-4. So now this week I've got a new formation.
Yeah, that's a horrendous result.
And that got me up to mid-table. In fact, I think I went up to 10th or 9th at one stage.
Yeah.
You know?
So you're both on 29 points. Simon, your goal difference is shocking, -7. And let's be honest, I've got you two on. The viewers aren't going to let me get away with this, but you two are both underachieving, right? Now, Ian, you say that thank you. But Ian, you say your squad wasn't what it should have been at the start, right? So I'll put it to you then. Well, what about Bristol City? And they're in 5th.
Some of the managers have done amazing with their squad.
QPR.
Obviously, I don't have enough experience and they're not good enough.
Well, we know that's not true, but the point is, you didn't have the weakest side. You had still one of the better teams with one of the highest values.
You're 100% right, but there was no strength in depth with the squad. I got to Gareth Barry, and that was it. There was sort of from 85 downwards. There was very little. 70. There was this huge gap, so I didn't have backup to call on when I had a player suspended or injured.
You're right there, Simon.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I've gone off the phone. I've now gone onto my iPad, which gives me much more bigger picture, you see.
Oh, right. Fair enough. I've no idea if this is coming out, lads. Even though it's recording well, but when I stop it, I'll only know if our sound has come out well afterwards, because it can.
Okay.
It could come out like the chipmunks.
No, that's fine.
So
I must admit, the thing like Ian was saying, it's the tactical side is quite incredible. That you look at some of the teams, and what they do is they just match your structure each game. So they don't actually have their own tactical style. They just basically they watch what you're going to play, and then they play the same system.
Some do. Some to go. It depends on a team. If you've got a weaker team or a young team, you're going to do that. You're going to try not to get beat. Most of the teams I've had, I've always gone on the attack, and I used to play a 3-2-2-1 formation. Now I've been playing 4-3-3 this season, but because I've completely ripped up my team, I've now gone from attack to defence. But I look at some of the managers in Division 2, and I know that when Hammer was at Forest, he would have gone out all attack, and I think Mick Oldfield at Fulham, when he was at Fulham, would have been doing his own thing. Some managers might be looking at the opponents and adjusting. It depends. But I will defend you two on one thing though. Division 2 is really, really hard. It's really competitive.
I've had some really good away wins. Some really good places. Some of the top clubs I never ever thought I'd win at or got draws at. It's my home form that's let me down. We're chronic at home.
Right. Yeah.
Other than the game at Rangers on Thursday night when we got thrashed, my away form's been pretty good, but my home form's been awful.
You're 11 points off the playoffs. Is it realistic that you could make a late charge, either of you two?
No.
Simon?
Well, if I carry on beating the top teams like I did on Thursday, we've beaten Norwich. Yeah. There's always that outside chance.
Well, you're 11 points ahead of Ipswich, who are 18th, but you're 11 off Stoke, who are 6th. So
Ipswich are on a good run.
Yeah.
But they needed to. They were going down. Sheffield Wednesday are doing poor as well under Gino. I don't know what's going on there. Hull in the bottom 3. Under Nathan. Some active managers there struggling.
Well, me and Gino suffer from the same problem, and that is draws. Up to last weekend, we had 10 each, and we played each other and drew.
So, Ian, you're at home to Bristol City, who are the surprise package this season. Are you going to win tomorrow?
Going to do my best.
And
going to do my best.
You've got
new formation tomorrow.
Simon, you're away to Ipswich.
Yeah, well, we'll just have to go on tactical. But as I said, I've just brought sort of a couple of new players in. Quite like the look of it. I've just got a good left back. I've just purchased this week.
Okay.
So
Simon,
that gives me a little bit more.
One defeat in 4, unbeaten in 3, but only one win. Ipswich have won 3 of their last 4.
They're there for the team.
We'll see. Oh, well, we'll see. There's still 14 games. That's 42 league points. It's all to play for.
Yeah.
Do you both think Derby are going up as champions now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anybody can come close. I thought I had a good game with them, but, the difference is I find, certainly with my squad, is the fact that they play really well. They get a good head start. They get a goal in, and then they just seem to falter at the end. The last 15 to 20 minutes is like playing for an hour with Villa at the moment.
So Derby are top by 10 points, and then we got.
I think I've got Derby next week.
And then we got Forest on 46, and then we got Fulham, Norwich, Bristol City 43, and Stoke on 40. Who do you two think will join Derby in Division 1?
Me, Fulham or Forest. Hard to separate those two teams. Both dropped a few points recently.
Yeah, I think Norwich will. I think they're going to falter. I think they've lost several games recently.
Well, he's changing his team, isn't he, James?
Yeah, and I think he's made that decision that he's just going to stay, maybe get in the playoffs, maybe go up that way. But certainly, if they get beaten by me, then yeah, they've got a problem.
Yeah, Stoke are in good form. Well, actually, I say that they've lost 2 of the last 3, but they've won 4 of their last 6. Leeds United are unbeaten in 6. Right. Did you see the news feed today? Did you see the Wrexham manager's been sacked?
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
He. What are your views on that?
Well, according to what the newsfeed said, James has told him a few times about going over the squad cap. It's something he's done in various other game worlds quite a few times, apparently. I think he got his just desserts.
So, for you, the right decision, Ian?
For me, yeah.
What about you, Simon?
Yeah, I think it's the right decision. I think if I never used to be used to rules in the system, and then obviously once I met yourself, I started joining leagues where there were caps and so forth. It took me a little bit of time to understand it.
Yeah.
But I think if they're there and you get given a chance, that you only should get one chance.
Yeah.
And if you abuse that, then I don't think it doesn't give us not much option but to sack the manager.
But, it's not just about going over the squad cap. If you're promising not to play somebody in the next game or till you sell him, and then you go against that, and that's just not fair to the other guys, is it?
No. And you both support the premise of a squad cap?
Yeah.
I think squad cap is a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. It's like I said to you, Rob, this week. I made a quick purchase. I released a player, but then I went into panic mode because the released player hadn't gone. Yeah. It was still sitting on my squad. But then when I spoke to James, he looked at my squad. From his point of view, he'd been released, but on my system, it was still showing he was sitting there.
Yeah, I think James is pretty reasonable, isn't he? He's not trying to hound people out, but
no,
he's done really well.
Yeah, because obviously
I think he's used a lot of common sense.
Yeah, the game world I felt was sort of petering out a little bit, and then James took over and give it a new lease of life, really. How are you two finding this game world? How does it compare to other game worlds you've been in?
This is the best one I've been in.
Yeah, I have to be honest. I've been in with several of the other ones that we all know about.
Yep.
I find this one's got more action, a lot more response from the managers. And as Ian said earlier, there is so many managers in this that are active but are really experienced. So that's what it makes. It makes it more competitive. Yeah. You're not a manager just streaking away, taking control. And I think if, like yourself recently, if you want to do a massive changeover in your squad, there are managers here that are interested in buying players, and it helps you then to do those big squad changes.
Yeah, we've got a big Facebook community. I make no bones about it. I'm one manager that will constantly try and deal internally, either as a buyer or a seller. I think it's good for the game world. And if you're in the Facebook group, there's that option as well. We've got a very active group. Because of the nature of the game world, wins are harder to come by, so it can be a frustrating game world. But because of the nature of the game world, it's that much sweeter when you do win. I think a win in TFSL means more than a win in another game world, if that makes sense.
If it's an interactive game world and you're getting a lot out of it that way, winning's important, but it tends to take away the losses a little bit,
Yeah. Now, I know that I was doing very well with Crusaders and I had a really good chance of promotion, and a lot of people found it strange what I did. But for me, this is the truth now. And I like to win, but actually being in this game world and helping the social side of it was important. And also I wanted to manage Crusaders for a long time, so I wanted to do it properly. And we were going to go into Division 3 with a very, very old team. A very old team. So I felt that wasn't a responsible long-term strategy. So I'm going to take a hit for a couple of seasons and enjoy the game world from afar, from Division 4, and hopefully do all this sort of thing. Because as you say, there's more to life than just winning in big games. What about, that's Craig, what about the Yusuf situation at Chelsea? Are you too familiar with what's happened there?
Yeah, he's loaned out a number of players early on at the beginning of the season. He also had a few that were, I think, were loaned out prior to him taking the club. I think 3, maybe 4 that he can't recall. But he's gone over the terms that apparently were agreed.
Well, from what I understand, he hasn't broken any rules as such because him and James have an agreement.
Right.
They have an agreement. Yeah. What I don't understand, I'm not trying to pick on Yusuf now, but I don't quite understand. If you've got 3 loans that you can't recall at the start of the game world, is it wise, is it prudent to then loan out another 7 players?
Well, he obviously knew that there was a squad cap, and if he felt he needed to change his squad, then he should have sold those players rather than loaned them out.
Yeah, because that means then you're going with 3 players.
Yeah, I'd like to have had a squad where I had 11 players. I can understand that you've got a squad, and let's say you inherit a squad of 30. What's that cap? 33, isn't it, or 35?
33.
I'd like to have. I didn't have a squad with 33 players in to start with, but if I'd have had a squad of 33 of the quality that he had, then I can understand not wanting to sell any of those players, but rather loan them out. But then you've got to accept that you can't be buying. So he should have realised that at the start of the season, that by loaning these guys out was going to restrict the amount of players he could bring into the club.
Yeah.
You know, I have to be honest. You know, I've actually returned one of the loan players to him. I had I've forgotten his name, Hudson, and I've just returned that because I discovered that I wasn't playing him. It was unfair to have him in my squad. He wasn't going to develop. I'd love to have him in my squad. Don't get me wrong. But I had him on loan. I checked with him, could I return him? Was he comfortable with that? Because it would benefit me. He wasn't going to play. He was just going to sit on. He wanted him getting on the subs bench. And I just said, can I just basically return him? And he said, yes. But where I've had the same situation, I then go out, look for a player that's more developed and is a bit more experienced, and then I try to purchase him by using 2 of those players up, which then reduces your squad. But it gives you a player in, and that's the best way to do it. But, you know, if you know you've got 3 players who are out on loan, you're sort of stuck in a way. Otherwise, you just become like a real club, and you'll have, like, you know, my team Chelsea, where you have 50 odd kids that are kicking around on loans that you're never going to play.
Yeah.
But you're just looking at the finance side.
I'm looking at Chelsea's squad now, and I've got to be honest, I don't really understand the situation, so I'm not gonna make a call either way because I might get it wrong. So I'm just going to state the facts that Yusuf's got 26 players in his first team, right? And then he's got 11 out on loan. So they're the facts. He's got 37 altogether. But then with that in mind, why did he go out and buy this junior?
Vinicius Junior.
Yeah.
Yeah. And looking at his squad at the moment, I'm looking at it as well, and he's got 4 transfer bids coming in.
And then Junior's gone out on loan straight away. I'm really confused. Yeah. I'm really confused. This doesn't seem. There's something not quite right here, and I know that James has sent me a message showing an agreement he had with Yusuf, but I just don't understand it, and I think we need further clarity on this. Because
I think we do as well.
I'm really confused, and I'm not accusing anybody of doing anything wrong. It could be a really simple explanation, but I don't understand it. And I know Mick's doing his nut.
I don't think you're alone in not understanding it.
Well, if there were 3 players he couldn't recall, even then, if you take them 3 away, he'd still be over the cap.
Yeah.
But if you look at some of his transfers, he's done recently, give him due, he is trying to offload. Because if you look at the Suarez one, he's got rid of Moratti, you got rid of Debo, so that's a double. Then he's bought in Bonucci, and then he's given them Rudiger and Van Ginkel.
Yeah, that's very fair
so
to do that.
In a way, every transfer he's doing, he's offloading. I'll give him due. He's offloading 2 players. So every transfer he does, he's offloading 2. But he's not offloading them as quick. And to be honest, some of the players he's offloading, I'd never sell them for the players he's buying in.
But Simon, I could counter that and flip that round and say, but why has he only started doing that now? Why didn't he do that at the beginning of the game world?
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you on that one.
And I think,
that's only like.
I think the answer to it is Yusuf wasn't active at the beginning of this game world.
No.
Also, if he's parting with 2 players for every one, how many players did he have in his squad before he started doing these 2-for-1 transfers?
I don't know how many, but Chelsea do have a big squad, don't they? They do.
Yeah.
They have a huge squad, don't they?
Yeah.
I think they've got one of the biggest squads in the league, haven't they?
Fine. But
I think I took on Chelsea in another league and they had about 50.
But if you inherit Chelsea and it's a big club and a big squad, all right, okay, it's a big squad and that's a pain having to get the squad down. But let's have it right now. Chelsea's one of the luxury clubs in TFSL. So if you're lucky to get them, you should be active from day one. Secondly, right, if the squad cap's 33 and you've got a big squad and you can't recall certain players, then what you need to be doing is offloading players externally as quick as you can.
Yeah.
And then not go out and buy players and then loan them out like Father Christmas to the rest of the league. To have 7 players out on loan to managers is ridiculous.
Also, it's wonderful to take over a club with a squad over 33 because you're generating more money by selling them.
Yeah, I think basically, look,
which is something I couldn't do with a squad of 27 or 28 when I took over. If you take over a squad of 40 players, immediately you've got 7 or 8 players you can just get rid of.
Yeah,
doesn't matter who they are. And you can bring in 5, 10, 15 million.
If Yusuf's honest, he will only know himself how active he was in the very beginning. But I sincerely don't think he was. And Chelsea's performances at the start were pretty lousy. They've made a good comeback and they've sort of shot up into the top 4, although they got stuffed by Man City the other day. But I think Yusuf needs to try harder if he wants to be in this game. Well, it's a top.
But I think the main thing is there is this agreement in place, and I'm willing to go with that. I've got no problems with that. If he's made the agreement, we wait until the end of the season. We'll see what happens.
James,
go from there.
I trust James. I'm sure that there's a very simple whatever to this. That's why I'm not ripping Yusuf apart, because I think Mick might have jumped the gun on it. And I think there's a really... I know that James has already said something this week, but I personally didn't understand what really was going on. So that's why I'm raising it now. I trust James, and I think Yusuf's an honest guy. I don't think Yusuf's a cheat. I don't think this is a case of cheating. My stance on Yusuf, though, is was he actually that active and paying attention at the start of the season with Chelsea? And I think the answer is no. And I think... It's
probably a case of mismanagement.
Yeah. And Yusuf needs to decide, because this is the truth now. He was thinking of quitting SM at the start of TFSL. And he stayed. I wanted him to stay. I like him. He's a good guy. But I only want people to stay if they want to stay. I don't want people just being bit parts. And Chelsea's a huge club in TFSL. You want all the top clubs being run by really active managers, don't you?
Yeah, very much so.
So Yusuf needs to think about it. It's not like we're short of guys on the waiting list. I'm not allowed to say, but we've got a really long number. And they're good quality as well. And quite a few of the guys that are on the waiting list are in the TFSL Facebook group. So they're kind of more active than some of the managers in the game world, because they're liking posts and whatnot. So, all right, that was that little bit. We've had a few managerial changes recently. Do you think the game world's got stronger because of it, or weaker? Maybe.
No, I think the game world's strong anyway, and I think if they bring in anybody else, it just makes it stronger with the certain people that I've seen coming in.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be, to be honest, it's got to be the strongest game world. I mean, for active managers and managers that really do study games and know what they're doing. And I think that's why, Ian was just saying earlier on, if you've got managers that are very competitive and know what they're doing with against each other, that's why you're drawing. It's not like they know what they're going to do tactically on a substitution. They know that some managers will, if you're winning with about 15, 20 minutes to go, some managers will go really defensive. And so they then just go full out attack. And that's how they can get these extra goals in at the sort of depth.
I know that for example, Mark Stewart at Derby pays a hell of a lot of attention to detail regarding teams he's playing, tactics, signings. It's not a fluke that Mark is top of the league by 10 points, and it's not a fluke that Mark does well in a lot of game worlds.
No.
So when you were saying that, Simon, Mark immediately sprung to mind, and I'll probably hopefully get him on soon, because so he takes it very seriously. So it could be, for example, he might have a formation and a setup, but if the result isn't going his way, he'll switch things during play, during the second half. I'm not sure how many managers do that. So Derby might be pinching results sometimes when other managers might lose, because he's incredibly consistent.
I love the way the game world's growing. I think it's growing for the better all the time. Without making you too big-headed, I love your enthusiasm and your dedication for this game world, and you deserve for it to grow just simply because of the amount of effort you put in. Well, and it's not something I'm just saying for the camera, because I've said it to you before. But the game world is growing, and it's great that you're bringing in such good managers. And I'm in a couple of game worlds where in the last few weeks I've seen a complete drop-off of 20, 30 managers from it. And, you know, long may this continue and carry on growing with the quality you've got.
Yeah, thank you. It's for me, it's a collective effort. Obviously,
it's a credit to you, Rob.
You can't do things on your own. And I mean, I posted a video about 6 weeks ago, and I was getting a bit annoyed with TFSL because I could see it petering out. So I thought, what I'll do is I'll put a video out. I'll call everybody out, upset the whole game world, but I'll get a reaction. Now, what it's going to go two ways. They're either going to ignore me and nothing's going to happen and the game world dies, or I'm going to get a reaction and the game world's something's going to happen, and we got a change of game world owner, and I think the game world's gone on the up since. But it was kind of a make or break situation. But here's my thing on this. Like, I've been playing Soccer Manager 2 years. It is just a game. We all love Football Manager games. I've been playing them since the 80s. Don't know about you two.
Since the 70s, on the Amstrad.
Yeah.
You say that. I was only talking to my son the other day about a Football Manager game that I used to play on Spectrum 48K.
Yeah. What was the name?
I'm sure it was Football Manager, and it used to have, when you used to play it, you used to have 3 players on the pitch, and they used to go along and shoot from 40 yards out. Yeah. You might score, you might not.
I used to load my cassette into my green screen Amstrad.
I remember. Yeah. And he used to make.
See, I've got the advantage. I'm probably the oldest person on this.
Yeah, you're looking well, Ian. But how old are you?
I'll be 66 at the end of next month.
Yeah. Well, we had a guy called Ronnie, who's in a few game worlds, although he's quit a few. He's in his 70s and he's living in Spain, so it must be this living in Spain. It must be living in Spain. It keeps you young. But it would be one of the old ones, Ian. But we're digressing because I want to get back to my other point. But we have got a very mature crowd in TFSL. We've got a diverse range of ages. And I think that is a positive. Because in previous game worlds, you got a lot of lads in their early 20s and they're all effing and jeffing and being a bit silly on Facebook. It gets ridiculous.
Well, I stayed very quiet when I joined Game SM because I thought I was going to be amongst a load of kids of 14, 15, 16 years of age. No. And I sort of just sounded it out for a little while. Yeah. It took me a little while, and then I realised there were more mature guys in it, which made me feel a lot more comfortable.
And that's what I want to lead on to now. So we've all played Football Manager games, right? And we can all play this. You can even play on your own. You can play the single game. Or you can play games in other way. I'm not into consoles. I'm not into, Xbox and all that. I'm not into that. I just like Football Manager. Yeah. But for me, as I've got older, playing Football Manager on my own, by myself, isn't very interesting. It's something I did in my teenage years and grew out of. Yeah. The whole point of this, what I found when I got into this 2 years ago, was the idea that at the other end of the screen, you're pitting your wits against another real guy. And then, obviously, when I started out, there was lots of silly accounts and lots of bogus names and all the rest of it. Yeah. And as I started to get a community gathering momentum, more and more guys, and you get to know people, and a Facebook group emerged, it kind of all started to fit into one. It makes sense. Well, let's make this a bit more interactive and a bit more real. Start rooting out these silly accounts. Start rooting out all these fake names that we know nothing about. Diego, Pele, Maradona, Cruyff, Carlos Kickerball, Wankface. Does
Does that mean you want me to get rid of Harry Potch?
Well, initially, I must admit, when you first arrived on the scene, I said to Kev, "Who's this?" And he said, "No, that's Ian Imber." Okay, all right. And
Well,
yeah,
because the first leagues I was in,
Yeah.
nobody used their real names.
No,
So
well,
I thought, am I doing something wrong here by using my real name?
I mean, it's up to you now. Everyone's got used to it, but yeah, it is pretty much everyone uses their real name. And any manager that just walks along with their fake Roy Keane name or whatever they're called, you know, they're not getting anywhere near this game world. And for me, sorry to make this point so long, but for me, what the beauty of this game world is that you're all real guys, you're all good guys, you're all dotted around the world. We've all got different nationalities, diverse range of ages, and we can all we can do things like this and have a laugh, bit of banter, and it's not too serious. And you know, friendships get formed. You know, you look at Mick and Johnny.
For sure.
Mick and Johnny have become real life friends. I've met Nick Justice in real life. I've got 2 real life friends that play this anyway. Johnny Mack and Andrew Flint. Got to know Kev quite well, and I've got to know a few others as well. Richie, I speak to a lot. Nick Dunks, and I'm sure you
guys. You're
guys.
welcome out here to Spain to come and see us.
Yeah, you never know. But I think that is.
I'm serious.
I would
I'm
do.
serious.
I would do. But I think that is the beauty of these game worlds. And I think if we didn't have this, I would probably walk away. I don't think SM on its own has enough for me. I would find something else to do.
You're right. This is what it's the interactive side that makes the game world so good.
And I wonder if other managers feel like that.
Yeah, I think you find that, you know, I was in a fantasy football league when I was about 21. And it wasn't like on the papers and everything. It was actually a system, a computer system. You used to have to send off your paper copies to this guy that was the boss, the MD. He used to load it up, and I'm still in it, and it's still going.
I remember.
But now it's developed, and it's electric. We do it as emails. But the thing that I found about that was we had to go out and find the players to bring into the system. So, you know, I make claim to bringing in Steven Gerrard, Alexandro Nesta, Vincenzo Montella, when they were just 17-year-old lads that were playing in their teams. And this is what I like about this system, is it's carried it further on. So now it's being able to sit down. You know, my wife was saying the other night, I was sitting in bed and I was watching the YouTube chat, the last one you did.
Yeah.
And she sort of looked at me and she said, "You sad person." But I said it's fun. And when I told her I was going to do this, she went, "If you want to do it, do it. I'll take the dogs for a walk. Kids can go out, just have a good time." And, you know, I find it funny. I just find it banter. But it's like I was saying to you last week. If I don't see Villa mentioned, I then think, hold on, I'm in that division. And I joked with you and said last week that you went down the whole league to the team above me and then went to the team below me, and Villa never got mentioned. So that's
I don't think he mentioned West Brom either.
Yeah, there's a reason
I
for
think
that,
he mentioned you because he kept saying you kept drawing. He definitely mentioned you.
You know, you're not in the relegation zone and you're not getting promoted. What's there to say? I'll do a whole.
We're of no interest.
I'll do a show on mid-table.
Boring, aren't we?
All right, I'll do a show on mid-table mediocrity. Okay, just for you two. I didn't mention Johnny at Burnley last week, and you know, Johnny's doing a good job at Burnley, but he's not going down and he's not challenging. So it's one of them things. You're not these teams. Your Burnleys, your West Broms, your Villas. Let's mention a few of the guys that don't get mentioned. All right, shall we give a few shout outs?
The guy at Huddersfield's doing a great job, isn't he?
But he gets lots of Anthony Roach, and he's done a video as well. So.
I'll tell you another one. I don't know the guy, but you said to me keep an eye out for transfers this week.
Yeah.
And I was looking, and I have to be honest, I quite like St Mirren, which I think to me is a really good purchase.
Say that again, Simon.
It's somebody I've watched.
Simon, you cut out.
Okay, the gentleman, the manager of St Mirren.
Well, that's Nick Dunks.
Yeah, but I just like the player he brought in, Guts.
Right.
Is it Guts? And then you got, like at Rangers, you brought in another player came in called Sean. And I think you look at some of the transfers that are going on, and you got managers that don't come on a lot, don't get mentioned a lot, but they're just quiet in the background, buying players in,
The
building
Rangers
squads.
manager is called Chris. He lives in America, and I'm doing a show with him tomorrow. Yeah, there's a few managers don't get mentioned. Celtic aren't getting much of a mention. Paul Crowther. Everton are not getting a mention. Andrew Lane. Mind you, Andrew's not active enough, so that's his fault. Crystal Palace don't get much of a mention. Richard, but then he's been too quiet as well. Do you know what? If you've been quiet, you don't deserve to get a mention, do you? Is that fair?
No. What about the managers at Dundee or Bohemian?
Yeah,
let's go.
right.
Division 4, right down at the bottom. They're both on 6 points. They've only won, by the looks of it, won one game each.
I mentioned because it's because of them two that I've changed my whole thing. Danny Cogger at Bohemians and Dan's from Essex, by the way. They are both basically they're not playing for results this season. They've kind of written it off. And they've both decided they're just signing tons of risers. It's all about risers with them two. So their squad value is building up and up, especially Dundee's. I mean, even Bohemians just signed a striker from Celtic recently for £3 million.
Dundee have just sold 8 players.
Yeah, and Dundee got a war chest because they missed out on signing that Crystal Palace player that got let go and is at Portsmouth now.
Yeah,
Bin, whatever his name is.
Bursiki or something. Yeah.
The point is, these two guys.
I mean, he's just brought in.
These two guys are not competitive in terms of results, but they're building something. Watch them go. Watch them go.
Dandy have just brought. He's just brought in. He's just brought in 3 million.
I was mindful that I was getting left behind by these two because they're.
Yeah.
Dundee are a bigger club, but Bohemians are kind of my level. And I was thinking, well, hang on a minute. This guy's, although I'm at the top and he's at the bottom, and I did raise this in a video once, who's doing the better job? Because his squad value is 3-4 times mine. So who's doing the better job, really? It's an argument, isn't it? And so I decided I want to go long term. So I'm joining these two next season at the bottom of the league. So
but it's going to be very interesting next season because there's a number of clubs who went down the road you went down, who look like they could get promoted, but they're going to they could well come unstuck next season. Yeah, very especially true. If they get a lot of retirements.
Very true. Ian. So what you've got is you've got three teams are going up, right? And I honestly don't know. Let's say Hamilton are going up, and they need to. They need to because their squad's disgusting. And then you got the likes of Burton, you got the likes of Derry, Livingston. Derry and Livingston, if they don't go up, I think would have a slight problem. I think Livingston and Burton do have a few youths in behind the scenes, and Andrew Flint knows what he's doing with scouts. So I've no worries about Burton, but I think Derry need to go up. I think they'd have a problem. You look at the likes of Falkirk and Noisy, they're in really good hands. Noisy's really on the ball.
And Coleraine.
You look at Crusaders. You know, who's this manager at Crusaders who's got players that are walking around with Zimmer frames?
You're having a laugh, Simon. You know, you see my youth team.
You got two 38-year-olds that are retiring, and you got a 40-year-old.
Yeah, but that's like the last. They're like the last samurai. They're going. They're off. I'm not going to have a single over 21 next season. And
no, I was going to say you got an average age of 24 at the moment, haven't you?
Yeah, and I've got to bring up Billy Suter, the cheeky git. He's having a laugh. He posted in the newsfeed, and then he posted in the Facebook group as well. So I know he's taking a piss. He got a 0-0 draw with me, and he was delighted. And his average rating's about 85, and my average rating's 78. But he's basically the point he was saying. Well, Crusaders top of the league or second in the league, and going on results. This is a good result. I mean, there's talk about spin zone. But that was a terrible result for Billy because I don't think they're going to get the playoff spot now. That's cost them 2 points. I don't think I'm going to win another game this season. So I'm hoping to come mid-table. So Division 3, we got Cam running away with it. Division 4, I think Hamilton will probably go up as champion. Man City had a surprise defeat the other day. We got, any chance they could slip up, or do you think that was just a blip?
I think he's just had a couple. He's had a couple of defeats, 2 in the league and 1 in the cup, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But I think he's far enough ahead to win that.
I was going to say, yeah, he's got a 10-point gap, and the 10-point gap is a huge thing to gain because the other team's got to play each other.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be a difficult one to get past him.
Was it Watford, I think, that beat him?
Yeah.
That's a good result.
Yeah.
Well done, Watford.
Mind you, Man United has signed Kroos and Tony Kroos and Lewandowski this week.
Yeah, well done, Ian. Good shout. Man United been very busy buying top-end, kind of oldish players. That tells me that Dan's not mucking about. Like, he wants United to be a threat.
There's been some big money spent this week. I think some of the biggest transfers we've seen. You know,
wouldn't it be nice to have that money?
To Arsenal.
Now, I think Dan's done that. I'm just looking at... He's not going to win the league, but I think Dan knows he needs top 4. But he is in the Shield. Oh, well done Nottingham Forest for knocking out Arsenal in the Shield. Great result. So
great result.
Good result.
I'm going to go through the semi-finals with you. In the Shield, it's Spurs v Man City. Who's winning that one?
Man City.
I don't know. I think Spurs might have a go at that.
Right.
No chance, Man City. I'm a Chelsea fan. Come on, Spurs are absolute.
All right, well, I'm going to go Spurs. And then the other one is Forest Man U. I can only see Man U winning that.
Yeah, Man U.
I think Forest have gone as far as they can in that.
Yeah.
Because if I'm Dan, I'm putting my strongest 11 out for that.
Yeah.
Because Dan needs a trophy, really.
Definitely.
Yeah. So we're looking at possibly an all Manchester final or a Tottenham United final. Right. And then in the cup, Tottenham again. Tottenham v Arsenal. Where's your money on that one?
They're playing each other this weekend.
Yeah.
In the
Tottenham
league.
and Arsenal.
Yeah.
Who's
Tottenham.
winning that? Tottenham.
Got no choice.
For me, I don't care.
Right, I better even it up. I'll say Mick's going to take Arsenal to a final. And Liverpool Huddersfield. Normally I'd say Liverpool are going to batter them, but I don't know now with Huddersfield.
No, it's a possibility, isn't it, with Huddersfield? They might just get scraping, maybe get to a draw and go on penalties.
He got a great result against City, didn't he? So
no offence to Phil.
He's very savvy tactics-wise.
I'd love to see Huddersfield get to a final.
Yeah, me too.
Listen, I'm going to say it now. I'm supporting Huddersfield and Forest in the 2 respective cups. I hope Gareth and Roche win it. But realistically, it's probably going to be a Liverpool-Arsenal final and maybe a Manchester final. They're hard to call, actually. They're really hard to call.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then Tottenham, we don't hear a lot from B-Mark, really. Not enough, considering he's manager of Spurs. I'm going to get a video out of him because he's not in the Facebook group. He doesn't know it yet. Now, Spurs are in 2 cup semi-finals and are 5th. Is that a good season?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just bought Varane and Joe Gomez as well.
So we're saying the first 2 spots are nailed, United and Liverpool, and then there's a fight. There's a fight there between Chelsea, United, and Spurs for that 3rd and 4th. I tell you what, Newcastle in 6th, 38 points. Ross is doing a good job there, yeah.
Done a good job, yeah.
Right, okay. So I think we've given a few managers that don't normally get a mention.
I think one of the managers who has had a lot of mention, but not for a while, that we should give a shout to is Hammer.
Very much so.
What's he want to mention for? We're always talking about Hammer.
Well, listen, 3 straight wins.
Yeah, all right, 3 straight wins, but why has he got 3 straight wins? Because he's gone out and spent a ton of money on a load of high-rated players. It's not rocket science, is it?
Listen, why didn't the other manager do it?
I hope Hammer is as active and vocal when he finally loses as he is when he wins, because all we get when he wins is hammer this, hammer that. Hammer time this, hammer time that.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a lot of these managers, sing when you win, merchants.
Well,
let's show your metal when you
got a good game. They've got a good game tomorrow night, Blackburn.
Who, Kilmarnock?
Yeah.
Oh, that is a good. Is that your match of the day?
It will be, yeah.
That's a difficult one.
Kilmarnock,
to be honest.
Yeah, I think Kilmarnock will do them. I think Kilmarnock win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Blackburn made the big mistake by sending a certain young man to me this week.
Yeah, but Richie's in a man in a hurry. He needs results. I'd say you should.
If you've got, I find that you say that if you're desperate for, to win victory and win games, to sell somebody like, to me, for me, Bradley Dack is one of the most talented players in the lower divisions. He always has been, and I think since he moved up, I was amazed when he told me how much I could have him for, and to be able to get him, okay, I've got him. He's at 80 odd rating, but he's only going to develop.
I understand what you're saying, but isn't that good that Richie's done that? Isn't it good that managers are realistic with prices? And also...
the realistic prices is ideal.
That's right.
That's what you
hopefully
expect
everyone's
to sign
like
him for.
that. If you've got managers being daft in this game world, they're going to get told to jog on. And we don't want that. We want people... We want a nice little community with I want to see managers... I like to see all these internal deals. I'll give Hammer credit for that. Hammer loves a deal, all right? But Hammer... They had a good result over Bolton. Kilmarnock. I was impressed with that.
That was a great result.
That was a great result. But the other two games were against.
He should have won.
Yeah. So you have to
but the Bolton result was a bit special, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very much so.
Then you find out that the Bolton manager hadn't picked his team or something. So
well,
tomorrow's a test. Tomorrow's a test.
Yeah.
But fair's fair. If Hammer gets Kilmarnock out of that bottom three, he's done a great job. All right, fair's fair.
Yeah,
all I'm saying about Hammer and a few other managers, you hear a lot about them when they win, and I don't.
Yeah.
You don't see them when they don't.
No, there's a guy at Barnsley, Madassar, sing when you win merchant. I had a pop at him in another game this week because he beat me the other week and he was all over the news feed. He got beat this week by Kev. Didn't hear a peep out of him. If you're gonna give it out, you got to take it. Otherwise, you look at.
Oh yeah, totally.
For sure. Yeah.
Kev.
Rob, the bottom of the first division looks interesting.
I was just going to give Kev a mention before I forget. I think.
Good.
I think Kev's doing a good job at Bradford. And also, Kev's not been very well lately. So, Kev, if you're watching, get well soon.
Get better soon, Kev.
Yeah, but guys, I don't know if you two understand this, but Kev is top of this thing that David Garvett does, and I still don't quite understand it.
I haven't got a clue.
I get that Kev's bought a very young team and he's overachieving. I get that, but I don't get how he's top and Cam is all the way near the bottom. I don't understand.
I've no idea. I don't understand it.
No.
But he's doing a good. He's doing a good thing now with the Player of the Week.
Who is?
Instead, the guy who I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah, because I agree. I enjoy looking at the team of the week as well.
Yeah.
I think that's quite a good one. They have everything.
That's Bogdan.
Yeah. And I think that's really, it's impressive how he's done it. I enjoy looking at that. It's always good to see maybe there's teams below you that have got players that are worth looking at that get in it on a regular basis. For me, like this week, to get Jack Grealish in it, another player that I think is underrated. And just to see him get slipping is ideal for me.
Yeah. Ian, you wanted to talk about the relegation in Division 1. You are correct. There is, I can see, really 7 teams.
Yeah,
involved.
Me too.
I'd say Everton are safe.
Yeah. And I'd say Brighton are probably down.
Yeah.
Gone.
They are gone, but didn't they get a result the other day at Palace? Yeah, they did. And that's a bit of a derby.
Yeah,
Palace and Brighton's a bit of a derby.
Yeah, but look at Palace. Look where Palace are.
Yeah,
you look at the teams at the bottom.
Palace are in trouble.
Yeah, you look at the teams at the bottom and they're where they be.
In real life, they always say one team goes into freefall. And it could be Palace.
Well, it could be Bournemouth as well, which would be really sad because he's got a tough job there.
It could be. They all should be relegated. No, I'm only joking. Because Cardiff, I think, if Cardiff go down, Cardiff are going to be a huge threat in Division 2.
He spent some money, isn't he? He's bought Bernat and Ascasa.
Now Lionel
both
is from Argentina and a very good manager. He's
bought 289. He's bought 289 rated players this week, and that might just be enough to see him up.
Lionel recommended a little Argentinian gem for me, so I can only speak highly of Lionel. But I've spoke to Lionel. He runs a shoe shop in Buenos Aires. He's a lovely fella.
Yeah. I saw his video.
Yeah, he's a lovely fella, and in every game world he's in, he's buying players that I want, and he gets there first. So I think I've got a feeling Cardiff are going to get out of it though. I think Cardiff will. Yeah. So I
Possible.
think.
And I can't see West Ham going down.
No, I can't. I think Michael's had a shot
this week.
I think West Ham have been awful. Yeah. But I don't think they're going down.
They bought 391 rated players this week.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if Michael was really on this game world at the very start, because he's in all the top game worlds, and I just think he wasn't quite at it in TFSL. That's my opinion. Because if Michael's at it, he's in the top 7 or 8 with West Ham.
Yeah.
We only know if only he knows. And that's it, really, lads. Going to wrap it up now, I think, and see if.
Okay. Can I just say something that's got nothing to do with this at all? Earlier this year, I had prostate cancer.
Right.
And I had my prostate removed.
Right.
And made a full recovery, doing really, really well. I'd just like to say to all the guys on here that watch this video that are 50 years and over to go and get their PSA levels checked. It's just a blood test, because if you catch this early, it's got an amazing survival rate. So it's about 96% of men survive if they catch it early, well into their 70s and 80s.
So they just go to their GP, do they?
They just go for a blood test, and your PSA level gets tested, and that'll give you the first indication of whether you've got a problem. Go and have it. Once you reach 50, it's really, really important, guys. All right?
Okay. I can't say anything about that. That's it's brilliant that you've got recovery, and it can happen to anyone.
Yeah.
Well, all the best.
That's why I've got so much time.
The truth is, we're all on borrowed time, so you've got to enjoy life while we're here, and playing games like Soccer Manager. If it gives you a bit of enjoyment, and your wife or your missus calls you sad, so be it. Because
I can live with that.
Yeah, and listen,
me too.
It's all very well, because I understand. I don't have a girlfriend, funnily enough, but I can understand why people might think all of this is sad, and I do. I can't take it too seriously myself. But then, if you look at I've said this before, look at everybody and what they do. You know, women going out and buying handbags and shoes, women buying things, taking them back because they didn't. I don't know. We all do daft things, don't we? You know, there's people out there collecting stamps. You know.
Yeah, I think it's whatever. I've always said it's whatever interests you. You know, for me, I can sit down at a table and I can do some fancy football, and the wife says, "Oh, you're a bit sad," and then I turn around and she's watching Geordie Shores. So you know, what more?
We're not harming anybody. It's a bit of a laugh.
Yeah. It's a release, isn't it?
One last thing, lads. Would you two recommend managers that have never been on before coming on if they're a bit worried about whatever, the camera or whatever?
100%.
Because
I would say I was very, very reluctant previously. I said that I would do this. It's taken a long time for you to actually get me on the system.
It has, yeah.
When I rushed back here today, I've got pieces of paper lying everywhere where I've written bits down. I've studied things, transferred, so I was able to talk about things. But certainly, there's no need to be worried. It's good fun, and everybody's willing. And as long as people are willing to watch it, that's the main thing, isn't it?
So will we get thumbs up on?
I would.
Yeah,
I'm happy to come back. I'm happy to come back.
I don't think thumbs up will ever come on.
I think it'd be really interesting if you could.
Oh yeah, out of everyone I've never had on, he's the one I would want on.
Yeah.
And I do like Thumbs, really. He says a lot of silly things, but I do like him. He's brilliant for Game Worlds. And he hasn't won in 7
like that with a character, a little bit different.
Yeah, and you need that.
They definitely won't come on then.
Yeah. All right, lads. Thanks very much. I really hope this comes out. That's all. We will see soon.
All right.
All the best, lads.
Right.
Cheers.
Nice to meet you, Simon. Keep up the good work, Rob.
Nice to see you again, Ian. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Bye.
Okay.